Hola! Welcome to your yoga practice. I'm Andrea Dawn, and today our flow is all about half moon. And so, the way I want you to consider half moon is to be about balance and thinking about this in terms of how we can improve ourselves and our lives, how we can balance our minds. So, one of the difficulties I find with yoga is that it talks about ceasing or stopping the thoughts. And while that's a great goal to have, that's what happens on the in between, right? So, like, how do we balance the thoughts that are not helpful? Well, first, it's by recognizing the thoughts that are not helpful and then bringing balance to them. So, for example, if you're experiencing thoughts that are of lack, then we could bring an energy to those thoughts of sufficiency. So we don't need to necessarily go all the way to abundance because that might feel like too far of a stretch. But how can we notice those thoughts that are vibrating at like a lower level or not giving you the results that you desire, and then bring balance to them by adding the energy that would bring it up a level. So from lack to sufficiency, I always get what I need. This practice will be exactly what I need. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to start in a comfortable seat and find Ganesh Mudra. So we're looking at Ganesh as the remover of all obstacles, but maybe today we're considering him as the equalizer or the one who can help us find balance in the obstacle of our mind. So left hand will come towards the chest, palm face away, right palm comes in front. You clasp the hands and you'll bring that to chest level. And we'll just take a moment to settle in, to arrive in body, breath, being. And then set an intention for your practice. The invitation is to make that intention one word. Perhaps it's something like balance. This intention not only serves to direct you and your life to where you want to go, but to cultivate the ability of having one pointed focus so that you are the one who is directing your life because you are in control of your mind and your emotions. Big breath in, open the mouth, and we'll start recline down on our back. So come on down onto your back. Once you get down onto your back, we'll bring the knees towards our chest but spread out wide, and you can take your hands on tops of the knees and then just rock from side to side. Good, now you'll keep the right knee hugged towards the chest and extend the left leg out long. Take the right leg over towards the right, meaning extend it towards the right, and you can use the right hand for support, holding underneath the leg or underneath the knee or underneath the shin. Maybe the left hand to the left hip. Good, and let's bring this leg back up and we'll give it a good shake out. Flex and point. Circle the ankle one direction, then the other. Good, then cross it slightly over the midline. Take the hands to the outer, or behind the hamstring, behind the knee, behind the calf. And you can draw in, but at the same time, press the leg away from you into the hand. Find opposition. And as we move into each posture, you might start to notice thoughts. And I try to like categorize them so I can start to notice like what thoughts are determining my day, and I categorize them by like blaming, complaining, victim, gratitude, empowerment, right? So I know what energy to add to equalize it or balance it out. All right. Bend the left knee, sole of the left foot down, cross right ankle over left. Good, then let's bring that system of legs up towards the chest. So now you could take the hands and interlace them behind the left hamstring or in front of the left shin. Lower the sole of the left foot down. Take your arms out to a T or cactus arms and then find a spinal twist. So we'll take that whole system of legs or that figure four and drop it over towards the left. The sole of the right foot will come down. And then energetically, you have two options. You can press the right knee away from you. You could even use a block or a prop to do so, or you could let it fall in towards you and just determine which one of those feelings feels more beneficial in your body. So just tuning into our sensation, and then taking our breath and imagining our breath moving in towards that sensation. All right, now we're gonna roll onto our bellies to take a shoulder stretch. So what you'll do is let this right knee just fall down as you roll over, and then you'll have to extend the left leg out long. And so I'm gonna use my toes of the left foot to give myself a little bit of lift. This right knee stays out towards the right. Reach the right hand up towards the top of your mat and lie on top of your left shoulder. So I know sometimes we want to like bypass from the negative to the positive, but the importance of learning how to, which this is where I struggle a little bit with the process of yoga, like moving directly towards just not having thoughts, but like how to, is learning and earning the ability to transform your mind so that when it goes back to a place like that you're not excited about or that you've been before, you know how to get yourself out of it. That leads to sufficiency and empowerment when we know what to do. So if we just got the result, then we wouldn't know how to get the result. And that leads to our confidence and to our inner knowing and to that feeling of like, we'll always be okay because we'll just figure it out. All right, let's roll back onto the back and we'll do that same little sequence on the other side. So this time you're gonna bring your left knee up towards the chest, extend the right leg out long. You can hug the knee up towards the armpit and then extend the leg out towards the left. And you can use this left hand as a support. Maybe the right hand comes to the right hip. Good, then bring that leg back up towards the sky. Give it a good shake out. Flex and point. Circle in one direction. Circle in the other direction. Then bring that leg towards the midline. Take the hands behind the leg for support. Find opposition. And then we'll find a figure four. So bend the right knee, sole of the right foot down, left ankle over right knee. Here's your figure four, lift it up towards your chest. Use the hands for support, either behind the hamstring or in front of the shin. And then into our spinal twist. So the sole of the right foot can come down, arms back out to a T or cactus arms, drop that figure four over towards the right. Then you decide whether the knee is pressing away from you or falling in towards you, or maybe it's somewhere in the middle. You can think about your practice as like this is the time that we dedicate to training our body and to training our minds. So when you don't feel like practicing, think about how this will add to the experience of the rest of your life, because you'll be able to navigate so much more efficiently when you have the ability to navigate your thoughts and your emotions. All right, let's roll onto the belly. We're gonna lie on top of the right shoulder. This left knee stays out towards the left arm reaches up. So uncertainty and groundlessness becomes less scary, right? Because you have this sense of knowing that you will figure out what to do with all of your thoughts, with all of your emotions, and how to handle any situation and recalibrate your mind and your thoughts to have a good experience. Or maybe not good, but quality. All right, let's come all the way onto our belly. So you'll use the left hand to press up, unthread the arm, come onto the belly. Spread the feet about mat's width distance, press the tops of the feet down, take the hands out wide, tent the fingers, and then we'll find a little bit of a lift. So as you do that, I want you to engage your quads, lift your kneecaps, press through your pubic bone, lift from middle to upper back. Now maybe you stay and hold right here, or you could find a little bit of a chest stretch by dropping the right shoulder in towards the midline and then the left shoulder in towards the midline. Okay, now maybe a baby cobra where the hands would come to chest level. You can bring the feet in so they're about 2 fists width distance apart, or maybe you go into a full cobra where you press all the way up, just depending on you. Make sure you're not dumping into the low back, so we want to keep the glutes slightly engaged. Tops of the feet pressing. Notice if your shoulders are hiking up towards your ears, draw them back and down. Good, then we'll press up to all fours and take either a cat pose or a rabbit pose to counter that. So cat pose, we're just gonna round the spine, chest bone towards the pubic bone. Rabbit pose, we'll sink the bum back towards the heels, take the hands to the heels, bring the head down, crown of the head down, then lift the hips, draw the heels in towards the knees as you round the spine. Good, then roll up to sit onto your heels. And we'll work into a little bit of a quad stretch, foot stretch, ankle stretch, maybe adding in the wrists. So this might be plenty. You might walk it back a little bit further. Here's where I want to offer a little bit of a wrist stretch. So you could turn the fingers face away from you, right? And then as you come back, you're gonna lift up the heel of the hand. Same thing, you're gonna turn the palm face up, fingers stay face away from you, lean back, and here you might squeeze the hands into fists or touch thumb to pinky ring, middle four. Wiggle out the fingers. Good, then come on back up, shake out the hands, shake out the wrists. And then we'll stand up onto our knees. If this is too much, you can always put a blanket or double fold your mat. Good, then bring your hands up, interlace them behind your head. Press your head down, chin towards the chest, but you're pressing the head back into the held hands, and then we're just gonna move the chin from side to side. Good, bring the head back up to neutral. Keep the hands behind the head. Press down through your left knee to step the right foot forward. Okay, and then from here, we'll find our position by drawing the right heel, right knee, right hip back, left knee, left hip forward, and then side bend. So the right elbow is going to reach down towards the right hip, energetically maybe pressing the right knee in towards the midline to keep balance. Back through center, hands to frame out the right foot, tuck the left toes, lift the left knee, and start to straighten the right leg. Press back through the left calf. So all about the back of the legs. Good, then we're gonna walk ourselves along the long side of the mat, and we'll just repeat this on the other side. So you'll walk yourself alongside of the mat, take it to the other side, come down onto the right knee, lift, find that opposition, interlace the hands behind the head, side bend over towards the left. Bring it back on up, frame out the foot, tuck the right toes, lift the right knee, start to straighten the left leg. All right, then we're gonna walk along the long side of the mat again. I'm just gonna switch feet so I'm still facing the camera. Back to the long side of the mat. Turn your toes out and then move from side to side. And then we'll take a traditional wide leg forward fold. So you'll turn the feet inward, walk your hands underneath yourself, let the upper body hang heavy. Let the crown reach down towards the earth. Maybe walk your hands a little bit more. Maybe turn the fingers away from you. You can use that as traction to kind of then draw in, meaning I'm like drawing the heel of my hand forward to the long side of the mat. Good, then let's roll ourselves all the way up to stand. So maybe you need to take a little bit shorter of a stance to do that. All the way up to stand, hands at high prayer. And into heart center. Heel toe the feet in just a little bit more. So we're still gonna keep a wide stance and we're gonna practice our balance for half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. So Ardha is half, Chandra means moon. So the word literally in Sanskrit translates, but let's just see how many fists width distance we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm about 7 fists width apart. So it's just something to note for like, I find this helpful when I'm doing triangle and I find my distance in triangle to be a nice distance to start my half moon. Anyway, we're just gonna work on balance. So what you're gonna do is take your hands to your hips, turn your one foot towards the short end of the mat, bend into that knee. See if you can keep the torso facing the side wall and find a little bit of a lift. And then we're gonna do that on the other side. You'll turn the toes towards the short end of the mat, bend into the knee, lean over, keep the torso facing the side wall, and you'll see about lifting. And then we're just gonna do that from side to side. You might find a little bit of balance, and when you do, maybe you work on lowering and lifting, finding control with the leg. Maybe you notice that you can find a little bit more balance if the foot is angled. So traditionally we're taught in half moon to have the toes facing the short end of the mat, right? So for my hip mobility, that's really hard. So I like to find a little bit of an angle on the foot. That way I find more balance and I can really open up my side body then. All right, let's give the whole body a good shake out. And we'll head into our first flow of the practice. So let's meet in our downward facing dog. I'm just gonna open up this window because it's gotten pretty heated in here. All right, from downward facing dog, pedal out your feet. Maybe even come onto the tops of your feet, stretch out the front of your feet, toes, ankles. And then we're gonna take ourselves to the front of the mat. So for some of us, that might be bending the knees and jumping. For some of us, it might be tiptoeing. I've been working on trying to keep a straight leg and then taking the hip and swirling it around and stepping to the front of the mat. Feet hip width distance. Roll yourself up to stand, reach your hands up high. And then prayered hands through heart center. Here you might find Ganesh Mudra. Revisit your intention. I am in charge, I am balanced, I am sufficient. I always have what I need. All right, inhale to reach the hands up high. Exhale to fold forward. We're going to take it into standing split. So we'll lift the left leg and maybe you find level hips to begin with. Maybe you bend the knee almost like you were doing a three-leg dog but in standing split. Then you could see about balance. It could be one hand to the ankle, both hands to the ankle. You could find one hand to the lifted foot and make it a quad stretch by pressing the heel in towards the bum and the other hand holding the ankle. Maybe you're envisioning that. Notice when your thoughts say, oh, hell no, and see if you can balance that with maybe one day. And then we'll bring the hands back down, step the left foot behind and outside of the left so the feet are crossed, pinky to pinky toe, and then let the upper body hang heavy. Good, then roll yourself all the way up to stand, hands up high. And we're gonna come to a figure four, balancing on the right foot. So I'm gonna bend into the right knee and then bring this left leg back and around, left ankle to cross right knee. As I sink down, prayered hands come to heart center. You could once again find Ganesh Mudra. And so you can start to automatically work that balancing aspect of your thoughts. Like you immediately notice you're having the complaint or you're having the blame or you're being the victim. And you immediately rewrite that script. Steady the breath. All right, we're gonna take this back into Thunderbolt. So you'll unravel the left leg, step it back, land on the ball mound of the foot. Reach the arms back behind you. Let's find a long line of energy from crown, down the spine to our tail to the back of our left heel. Maybe a little deeper bend in the front knee. Strong legs, engage the left quad. Rise up. I'm going to circle my arms around. Depending on your shoulders, you can also bring them forward. And I'm going to circle them arm. Think crescent lunge, but then straighten the front leg. Again, strong scissoring action of the legs. So really engage the legs. Push through the big toe ball mounds of the feet. Now let's just switch this to the back of the mat. So we're going to come across the long side of the mat and turn towards the back of the mat. Same thing. It's kind of a crescent, but we're keeping the front legs straight. Now twist, and when you twist and rotate, think of the navel being the driver. Navel, ribs, chest, collarbone, arms to a T. Good, land the right knee down. Then bring right elbow to outer left knee, left hand to the low back, and lift the right leg. So we're in this lunge hook. Again, strong legs. I notice oftentimes I dump into my legs. So how can I engage my legs more? And when I find that sturdy base, I can find more rotation in the spine. I can relax my upper body. And for me, I find more rotation in a relaxation. All right, now we're gonna meet in triangle pose. So take this right hand behind the back and lift. So I have my feet set up for triangle pose. The left foot is turned towards the back of the mat. Hips are level. Now start to tilt the pelvis. So the left hip lowers and the right hip lifts. It's one of my favorite variations of triangle pose. When we take the arms out of it, we can really focus on the legs. What the legs are doing, what the core body's doing. Now from here, we're gonna find our half moon. Okay, so we'll bend into the left knee. I'm gonna heel toe this right foot in further. This left hand is gonna reach out. I suggest having a prop. So I'm gonna use my harmonium, but a block would also be perfect, or a water bottle. And I'm gonna start to lift this right leg, okay? Now, I'm working to lift the right leg so that the heel, the hip, the heart, and the head are in alignment. So sometimes we see the pose like this with the hand down. There's no problem with that. It just usually tends to turn the chest down, and we want to have the chest open to the side wall. Whoop. Then from there, you might extend the top arm. Okay, I like to press the heel away from me, but draw the hip towards the armpit and the armpit towards the hip. So I'm creating core engagement to find that steadiness in the posture. All right, now we're gonna lower down. So see if you can use control with the right leg, deep squat in the left leg, warrior two. Arms level, hips over, shoulders over hips. Good. Now, left arm is going to sweep underneath right. You're either going to come to a bear hug or eagle arms, heels in, toes out. We're in a goddess squat with eagle arms. Steady the breath. Maybe take it a little lower, maybe a few pulses for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift, turn towards the front of the mat, and we're just gonna take it down into a flow. So you'll unravel the arms, hands frame out the foot, step right back to meet left. Opportunity for flow. If you're unfamiliar, maybe you take the knees down, heart and chest forward, bend the elbows, keep the core body strong, so meaning I'm not dumping into my back. Core body strong like a plank. Inhale, you find a little back bend. Exhale could take you to child's pose or right back to downward facing dog, and we'll repeat that on the other side. All right. From our downward facing dog, let's find our way to the front of the mat. Feet hip width distance, up to stand. Hands meet at high prayer, then maybe you find Ganesh Mudra. Revisit your intention. Seal it in with a smile. Inhale to reach your arms up high, exhale to fold. Standing split, this time balancing on the left leg. The right leg will go up, right? So you could start with the level hips, just seeing about lifting the right leg.
Personally, for my standing split, I really like to bend the knee and open. You're always the agent of your practice. You're always the one determining what shape is of benefit to you, not what someone else doing. You know, obviously taking into consideration the teacher's suggestions, but ultimately ruling over that for you. You are your own best advocate. All right, then let's step this right foot behind and outside of the left. So now the feet are crossed and we'll hang and dangle in a sciatic fold. And if you're not being your own best advocate, then who is? Right? That's when we start to feel dependent and we want to feel that sufficiency of like, nope, I always got me. I'm always going to say the hard thing, make the hard decision, whatever it is, so that I'm looking out for me. All right, roll on up to stand. You can meet the hands at high prayer. We're headed into the figure 4. So you'll have to put a little bend in the left knee, and then this right leg goes back and around, cross right ankle over left into your figure 4, where again, you might find that Ganesh Mudra. Once again, facing the mind as an obstacle that you have the power to design and cultivate and make however you want, because your thoughts create your reality. So while yoga suggests we stop those thoughts, let's start by seeing how we can shape them first. All right, now we're headed into Thunderbolt, right? So this right leg is going to go back. You'll land on the ball mound of the foot. The arms reach back. Strong legs. Up to your high crescent with a straight leg. You could circle the arms around or bring them forward, then up. Good, now we're just going to take that to the back of the mat. So we're just switching it up. And then rotate to the right. Drop your left knee down. Left elbow to outer right knee, right hand to low back. Then lift the left leg back up. So now we're in our lunge hook. Start to lift. Left hand meets right behind the low back. The right foot is pointed towards the back of the mat. Start with level hips, then tilt into your modified triangle pose. Okay, here's where we're taking it into our Ardha Chandrasana, our half moon pose. So I'm going to start by bending into the right knee and heel toeing this left foot in even closer. This right hand can go out forward, maybe to a prop. Then you'll start to lift your left leg. And again, your leg might start here and your balance might be here. The hand might be here. You're just going to start to work on getting the heel, the hip, the heart, and the head in alignment. Then from there, you'll spread your arms, creating a T shape with the arms. This pose always reminds me of not to be too invested in my opinions, because this went from being one of my least favorite poses to one of my most favorite. And just staying with that curiosity of things can always change and I might think different tomorrow. All right, let's land this in Warrior 2. Now from our Warrior 2, we're going to go into Goddess Squat, and that might be with eagle arms or with a bear hug. The right comes underneath left. You could start in that bear hug. Then maybe you find eagle arms, heels in, toes out. Let's sink it down. You might even come up onto the tiptoes Maybe a few pulses for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. And then we take it to the front of the mat. Frame out the foot. Step back. Opportunity for a flow. We meet back in dog, and we're going to go through that a little bit more fluidly. And then add on 2 more postures. So let's come back to our downward facing dog. Dog always reminds me that I am the one with the power to reset in any moment. So when I feel the momentum of the day going downward, or I'm annoyed, or I'm frustrated, I have the power to reset that. All right, here we go. Let's take it to the front of the mat. All the way up to stand. Maybe you're finding Ganesh Mudra. And here we tune back in with the intention. Reach the arms up high and fold. Standing split, lift the left leg. If you're working on balance, you could play with one or both hands. And we're going to meet in a sciatic fold, so you could see if you could find that without putting the hands down. Maybe this left foot comes down, and you never put the hands down. Good, let's roll that all the way up to stand into figure 4, balancing on the right foot. Left ankle comes around. Figure 4, maybe you find Ganesh Mudra once again. And then into Thunderbolt. Step the left foot back, arms reach back. Circle them around, stand up, straighten the right leg. Shift that to the back of the mat. Rotate to the left, arms to a T. Drop the right knee, right elbow to hook left, left hand behind the back, then lift the right knee. Good, now we meet modified triangle. Lift, right hand wraps around, meets left behind the back, tilt the pelvis. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. And then we meet Warrior 2. From Warrior 2, hug or eagle arms, left under right, goddess squat. Let's take it down, 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 lift, pivot, turn forward, Warrior 3 with a bear hug or eagle arms. Good, now into Humble Warrior. Release the hands, clasp them behind you, land the left foot in its own track, fold forward to the inside of the right knee. And then opportunity for a flow from here. All right, yogis, you got this. We've got one more round of flow. Back into our down dog. Take it to the front of the mat. All the way up to stand. Maybe it's Ganesh or hands in prayer. Revisit the intention. Bring a smile to the intention. Reach the arms up and fold. Balance on the left leg, standing split. Sciatic fold, right comes behind and outside of left. Up to stand. Reach the arms up, right ankle to left knee, figure 4, maybe Ganesh. Thunderbolt.
Step the right foot back, reach the arms back. Circle the arms around, rise up, straighten the left leg. Just take that to the back of the mat. Rotate to the right. Drop the left knee. Hook, left elbow to right knee, right hand behind the back. Lift the back leg. Lift it, left hand meets right. Modified triangle pose. Half moon. Bend into the right knee, heel toe this left foot in. Maybe find your prop. Ardha Chandrasana. Good. Now nice and slow, we meet warrior two. Bear hug or eagle arms, right under left, goddess squat. Take it back to the front of the mat, warrior three with your eagle arms or your bear hug. And then final posture is humble warrior. We'll step the sole of the right foot back, land it in its own track, angle out, clasp the hands behind you, fold forward. Final flow of the practice. Hands come down, frame out the foot, step back. Good, we're gonna meet recline down on our backs. Such good work, yogis. When you get down onto your back, we'll just take a few rolling bridges. So step the heels, two fists width distance, slightly in front of the knees, arms down next to the sides of the body. And we'll just lift and lower, articulate the spine. Move with your breath. Good. Then cross right knee over left. And take that whole system of legs and drop it over towards the left as you bring your arms out to a T or cactus arms. If that's too deep of a spinal twist, just unravel. Stack right knee on top of left. Then let's bring that back through center, and now you'll lift that system of legs up towards your chest. Hands can go to outer knees, outer shins, outer ankles, and spread the legs away from one another. And so maybe today is just the acknowledgement or consideration or inspiration or motivation of every single thought as an opportunity. And how amazing it is that by just having some awareness and then crafting a different thought, designing a different thought, we can have an entirely different life experience. So our circumstances probably won't change until we change the thoughts first. All right, let's unravel. And now we'll cross left knee over right back into our spinal twist. Drop it over towards the right. If it's too much, just stack the knees. But what's super cool is to realize that the same circumstance can have a completely different feeling within you. It's like, what's my internal experience? And how can it be just like more peaceful? How can I enjoy my life more? It means that I've got to learn how to cultivate my thoughts. All right, let's bring that back through center. Then lift that system of legs up towards the chest. Hands, outer knees, outer shins, outer ankles, draw away. So let the obstacle of the mind become an opportunity. And then release. Legs up into the air. Give them a nice good shake out. And we'll make our way into our final rest, our Shavasana, our corpse pose. Legs about mats with distance, arms next to the sides of the body, palms face up. And I want you to imagine that there's this part of you that just lifts up and out of your body. And he or she is just looking down on you with so much grace and love and understanding and acceptance. And in this time, that part of you knows exactly where to go for your healing. So I'm just imagining that part of me going right down to my feet, picking up my left foot, massaging out my bunion. And then that part of me going to my thighs and my hips and my core body and just offering it so much love because I've criticized that space for so many years. And then that part of me just going up and lying her head on my heart, acknowledging all of the pain and the hurt, the feelings of judgment, of abandonment, feelings of not enough, self-disgust and hatred, and just being with her. And then I imagine that part of me going up and into my brain, and she's up there just like rewiring and being like, I got this, I got this. I know exactly how to help you. Just continue this process and eventually allow the thoughts to fade. And just be here with yourself in a time of allowance for all of the healing to happen. Like you've got all of these little minions doing the work on yourself. It's always such a blessing, an honor, and a privilege. My heart sees and feels and smiles to yours. Namaste, yogis.